How to completely eliminate the common cold? Short answer, diet. Long answer, diet. Diet is both the cause and solution to what we experience as a cold, and it's all down to mucus forming foods. Because knowing which foods do and do not create mucus is key to understanding the common cold. Now let me just say that this video is both a report of my own experience after 5 years eating a non-mucus forming diet, and a review of Arnold Ehret's Mucusless Diet Healing book, which I highly recommend if you're doing raw foods. Now it's a common misconception that the mucus we cough up when we have a cold is created by the virus. Well, this is wrong. The virus simply triggers the body to expel the mucus that was already in the body. So the virus doesn't create the mucus, it triggers the release of it. The mucus itself has been in your body for months, and it's come from the mucus forming food you've been eating. So basically, to eliminate the common cold, you want to be eating foods that don't create mucus. Now you might still get a cold, but with no mucus in your body, symptoms will be minimal. So the question is, which foods create mucus and which foods don't? Well, we'll start with the easy question, foods which do not create mucus. Generally, whole, unrefined plant foods will not form mucus, so fruits, vegetables, greens, etc. Whole plant foods are generally the best foods to eat to avoid mucus buildup, and also to hasten the process of expelling mucus when you do have a cold. Because ultimately, natural foods are not designed to make us sick. That's the wisdom of nature, and that's why animals in the wild rarely get sick, because they eat a natural diet. So whole plant foods help ward off mucus buildup and help quicken the mucus expulsion when you do have a cold. So which foods do create mucus? Well, as someone who's been on a raw diet for 5 years now and been all but free of colds during that time, I've found dairy to be by far the most mucus forming. So milk, cheese, chocolate, butter, yogurt, etc. guaranteed to form mucus. Refined wheat would be another, white bread, pastries, flour, crisps, sugary sweets, fizzy drinks, all mucus formers. Basically, any food which leaves a thick syrupy residue in your mouth is generally a clue that it's mucus forming. Because that residue doesn't begin and end in your mouth, it continues all throughout your digestive tract. If you think of the human body as one long tube from mouth to anus, that mucus will line the tube of your body. As you can see here, the more mucus forming food you eat, the more mucus builds up throughout your digestive tract. Now obviously, if you eat a non-mucus forming diet, mucus won't build up in the first place, which means there'll be nothing to cough up if you catch a cold. But pasteurised dairy would be the worst offender. I mean, just look at the congealed milk around the rim of an old milk bottle. Look familiar? This congealment is what's happening inside your body. Cutting down dairy alone would massively reduce the mucus in your body, but generally, any food that isn't a whole plant food will leave some degree of mucus. That's certainly been my experience. Now you can easily test this yourself. Eat a piece of chocolate and then eat a few grapes. Notice which leaves more of a thick syrupy residue in your mouth. Now obviously the residue that a piece of chocolate leaves won't give you a cold, but over the course of a year, if you eat chocolate regularly, that residue slowly builds up and congeals within us to where our esophagus looks like the rim of that milk bottle. And that's ignoring all the other mucus forming foods we eat as well as the chocolate. Think of a cold as a snake shedding its skin. We're just shedding the layer of mucus that has congealed throughout our digestive tract. So although it feels bad, it's actually a healing process because we're getting rid of all that mucus. In fact, if we didn't expel this mucus, think of how sick we'd get if the mucus continued to build up. It'd lead to far bigger illnesses than a simple cold. And this is the basis of Ehret's book. So take solace in the fact that coughing up mucus is essential for healing, and any cure that impedes that process is no cure at all. The only cure is to avoid the buildup of mucus in the first place, with plant foods, water and cardio exercise being the big 3 prevention strategies. These mucus forming foods are what the Chinese call phlegm foods, and this was the basis of Arnold Ehret's work into a mucusless diet. Ehret was saying in the 1920s that if you want to be free of sickness, eat a plant-based diet. The whole premise of the book is based on the idea that mucus buildup in the body caused by food is the main cause of sickness. Again, my own experience 100% supports it, and that of many other long-time raw fooders who claim to rarely get sick. Error was doing raw long before it became popular, and the reason it worked then and the reason it works today is because natural foods that come straight from the earth are not designed to make us sick. That's not how nature works. Nature is by default a nourishing, nurturing, healing force, so it's not going to make foods that give us cancer and heart disease. These are conditions caused by the toxic waste of man in our food, chemicals and degenerate lifestyles. But this connection with mucus-forming foods and sickness, I honestly believe is one of the greatest breakthroughs in health science that's largely been ignored by conventional medicine. And this is why they're still struggling to find a cure for the common cold, because modern medicine pays no attention to diet when it comes to treating illness, when the fact of the matter is, what we put into our mouths is the main factor in determining our health. The sad truth is that doctors are just not taught about diet when they go through medical school, which is why your doctor won't recommend dietary changes in order to get you well. Not because it's not effective, but because they just don't know. They haven't been taught. But a cold is a great indicator of how healthy you are, because depending on how often you get a cold and how long they last, tells you a lot about how mucus forming your diet is. And I'd agree with Errett when he says that mucus buildup could very well be responsible for illnesses that go far beyond the common cold. So after 5 years on a raw diet, I've been all but free of sickness, and it all comes down to which foods create mucus and which foods don't. And when it comes to health, using your own body as a lab will tell you more than any textbook. So yeah, forget about treatment and think prevention. As the saying goes, give a man a fish he can eat for a day, teach a man to fish he can eat for a lifetime. Well, it's the same with health. Teach a man the fundamentals and he can look after himself. Diet, exercise, water, sunshine, fresh air, all the basics are all you need. So yeah, hope you found this helpful. Thanks for watching.